to stand our ground, not to yield, not to give up. Never, never, never. We never give up. If you don't just give up, you can move mountains, you can conquer the world, you can win this world, you can win this entire universe, only when you know that you are not there to give up. Hello folks, a good day and greetings. This is Professor Dr. Ghulam Buriro, Assistant Professor, Institute of English Language and Literature, University of Sindh Jamshoro, Sindh, Pakistan. Friends, today we are here to talk about the concept of success, or to talk about how we can succeed in our personal and professional lives. But before I may commence with my topic, I must offer a note of explanation. That note of explanation is that the very concept of success, by being a relative concept, by being a relative term, is open to all kinds of different multiple interpretations. Each one of in this world might have and must also be having different parameters to measure success. What I consider as success, you might consider as a failure. What you might consider as a failure, I might consider success. So I would just say that success would be open to all kinds of possible interpretations. Therefore, what I might be offering you as my views today, you might will have all absolute freedom to disagree, to have your vote of dissent, a difference of opinion. You might not agree with certain parts of my presentation. You must not also be agreeing even with the entire contents of my talk. So, I just don't mind it. In the democratic spirit, in an academic spirit, in the spirit of inquiry, in the spirit of scholarship, I would really love and welcome and adore all your disagreements, all your differences of opinion. You might in a way think about success as you might conveniently believe, and you might also have based on your own experiences, your own contemplation, your own imagination, your own observation. To me, success is a holistic concept. Success is not just unidimensional, it is a multi-dimensional concept. Friends, you would agree that we as people have to live in all different dimensions. We live as a father, as a person, as a job person, as a professional, as an academic, as a researcher, as a mother, as a sister, as a brother, as a cousin, as a community person, as a person in society, as part of society, as citizen of a country, and also as a citizen of the world. And in all these different dimensions, our biggest challenge that we confront is to strike up a balance among all these relationships. That's where I say it's multidimensional, and striking up a balance among all these different dimensions would be our success. If we are not able to strike up that balance, I would say that we will not fully be considered as successful individuals, as successful people. In order to be successful, we not need to be a beloved husband, a loving father, a caring spouse, a great sister, a sweet mother, a beloved citizen, a law-abiding citizen, a patriotic citizen, a citizen of the world, a caring human being, one who gives love, one who serves, one who contributes, one who goes forward, one who embraces mankind, one who embraces humanity. And if we, to a major extent, are 100% in all these various different dimensions, in this entire broad spectrum, into this wide perspective, into this entire scope of us as individuals, where we have to perform all different roles, and in all those different roles, we must be able to succeed. And we may not say, all right, money and fame are parts of success, but that's not entirety. That's not what I say wholesomely be called success. Success cannot be equated only with money and fame and wealth and power. We need to have power or relationships. We need to be loved and adored by people. We must care for people. We must do something that brings benefit to the rest of the people. We should be excelling in all our different personal, professional, and social roles. And if we excel in all those personal, professional, academic, research, social, political, cultural roles, my dear friends, only then we can say, yes, we are now successful. Why? Because we have somehow excelled in all possible dimensions in which we have to lead our lives. After we have been able to strike up this balance among all those dimensions, the next step towards success would be developing 5 senses among us. And what are those 5 senses? Let me enumerate those 5 senses to you. Sense number 1 is sense of responsibility. If we are not taking up the responsibility of our career, our own lives, our own world, our own universe, our own people, our own mankind, in that case, we will again not really be successful. We need to develop that sense of responsibility. If I do not take up my own responsibility, who else will? If I'm not ready to help myself, who else will? My question is, if I am not ready to help myself, who else you think will do that? We need to take up that responsibility. Responsibility as a home person, as a family head, as a country head, as a manager, as a professional, as an academic, as a researcher, as a friend, as a part of society, as a part of this world, as a thinking, analyzing, feeling part of this world. We need to have that sense of responsibility. And once we have that sense of responsibility, another sense number 2 would be for us, the sense of reality. Now, what I mean by sense of reality, I mean that we should not be carried away by our emotions. We need to strike up a balance between our head and heart. We must let our head, let our heart be in fine blending. Let our eloquence meet our authenticity. Let our head and heart work together in a close, intimate harmony. Let them be in proper sync. Let our head and heart be in synchronization. And once we synchronize our heart with our head with the heart, that's where we'll have a realistic perspective of love. We must not always be misguided by the power of emotions, by the storms and tempests of our passions. We must not be blindly misguided. We should simply not be swept off our feet. We must stay rooted to the ground. We must have our feet on the ground. We must never lose sense of reality. Once we are more realistic, as much as realistic, we will be that much successful. Here, I does not want to say that we should not listen to our heart. We must listen to our heart, but we should not let our heart overtake our mind. We should not let our mind overtake our soul. We should not let our mind and soul to overtake our body. We should not just ignore our body. We should go for fine balancing of heart, mind and soul. And if we keep a balance, that fine balance in our head, heart, body, mind and soul, only then we will develop that sense of reality where we will start looking at things as they are, and we should be looking at things as they should be. After that, we need to have 10 skills. And what are those 10 skills? Skill number 1 is social skill. We cannot live in isolation. We cannot exist in a vacuum. My dear friends, we live in a society. Society has certain bindings upon us. Society has certain rights upon us. We owe certain rights to society. There are hundreds and different of people who make our lives comfortable. There's a shoemaker, one who polishes our shoe, one who mends our shoe. There's a milkman who brings milk to our doorstep. There are teachers who have taught us. There are mentors who have groomed us. There are people, our father, parents, family, home, social roles. There are hundreds of people without whose help I cannot survive in this world. There are so many shopkeepers where I go buy shop. There are people who are courteous to me. There are people who inspire me. There are people who motivate me. There are people who do 100,000 different things for me. And that's where I'll have to repay. As Einstein says, that I'm Einstein, I'm comfortable. I seek all my comforts. I seek all my pleasures. I seek entire assistance from so many thousands of people around me who do so many things to make my life comfortable. A sweeper comes early morning, he cleans my office. There are scavengers who come and take away the dirt. And there's people who are actually assisting me in my office. There are so many colleagues who do 100 different things for me. And that's where, am I useful to all those people? Am I also doing something for those people? Am I in any way squaring up the debt? If I cannot square up that moral debt, I would be a great failure. In order for me to succeed, I need to square up my accounts with all these people, because of whose efforts, because of whose endeavors, because of whose courtesies, because of whose services, my life becomes milk and honey. My life becomes the way it is, all comfortable, all convenient, all easy. And this is what I call social skills. I should be able to connect with people, to network with people, to be a team player, to work with them, to be in sync with them, to be in love with them, to be a cause of happiness for them, to a reason of joy for them. The next such skill is soft skills. Nowadays, especially youth, really cannot survive what to say of excelling. Excelling is a far higher stage, a far longer stage, but even for us to survive, we need soft skills. We need to have that computer proficiency. We need to be experts in that information technology skills, in this social media. We are living in a digital era, and we need to digitize ourselves. Especially, let me make a reference to all these online paradigm shifts. We are all teaching and learning online. The businesses are online. Everything has somehow gone online. We cannot afford to be offline. We cannot afford to do all things manually. And for us to learn all these IT skills, all those computer literacy, are the that computer proficiency, all that IT proficiency. We simply cannot think of leading a life without being able to grow friendly and grow comfortable and grow confident with the use of this online technology. And technology has become our savior in a way. Why? Because technology is bailing us out of these pandemic times, out of these epidemic times, out of these tough times, out of these frustrating times, out of these challenging times. We simply cannot afford to get away, to escape our, the benefits of technology. And in order to gain benefit of technology, we need to get at grips with technology. We make to embrace technology. We need to welcome technology. We want to make technology, our friend. And once we seek this proficiency, this prerequisite, inevitable, unavoidable proficiency in IT skills, only then we will not only be successful, but we'll enable others succeed in this life. The third important skill that we must adopt is the skill of teamwork. Let us learn to be team players. Let us network with our people, with our colleagues. If I can only be having a solo flight, if I'm ready to work only for myself, if I'm benefiting only myself, if I'm in my own world, if I'm not in my own cocoon, if I stay in my own narrow shell, if I'm insulated and encapsulated in my own being, in my own world, I would never be regarded as a successful person. A successful person is the one who is always there to reach out, is the one who is always there to serve, is the one who is always there to contribute, is the one who is always there to help, is the one who is always able to listen, the one who is always extending his or her help to all those people. And then after that, after being a team player, we need to learn communication skills. And in that communication skills, nowadays, if you really don't know what matter is to be offered and in what manner it is to be said, if you know the art of speaking, if you know the art of pursuing other people, if you know the art of talking to other people, if you know the art of winning them over to your side, if you want really to convince them, persuade them, win them over, if you want to impress them, if you want your job to get done, if you want to convince them, you need to be excellent in the art of oral communication and presentation. You need to take up your position. You need to learn how to talk, where to talk from, how to say that. And if the more proficient you are, the more you will be able to win people. You will be loved and worshipped and adored. A team player is welcome everywhere. A team player is somebody who is loved by all. A team player is somebody who is admired by all. A team player is somebody who is appreciated by all. So I would insist this third skill that we should learn to be team players. And then we should also have decision-making skills. Those who are indecisive they go on accumulating negative energy. When you are indecisive, you are piling up negative energy. When you are indecisive, you are nowhere. And when you are everywhere, you are nowhere. And when you are nowhere, you are everywhere. So we need to take decisions. It's very important to take decisions. We may take wrong decisions, inaccurate decisions, false decisions, faulty decisions, defective decisions, but we must take decisions. By making decisions, we will learn to take decisions. So we need to improve our decision-making skills. Even a wrong decision is much better than no decision at all. That's where I would say that we must learn to decide this way or that. Decision making is very important. There are times and moments when we have to take decisions, and if we don't take decisions, time would take its own brutal, cruel decisions, and we will wicked decisions, and we will not really be able to face the decisions of time. Therefore, for us to respond to certain situations in form of our decisions, clear-headed decisions, we may think 100 times, as great Qaid Muhammad Ali Jinnah says, that think 100 times, but take a decision, and once you take a decision, take a firm decision, and abide by it. By tooth or by crook, by tooth or by nail. And after decision making, we must improve our interpersonal skills. And what do we do by interpersonal skills? I mean, we must learn to know what to say when, how to say it, what not to say, how to remain quiet, how to remain silent, where to remain silent, how much to say it, what is exactly the right way to say it to a person, so that he or she does not mind it. And we are not actually compromising the self-esteem, the self-respect of that individual. We'll have to safeguard the self-esteem of person we are talking to. We'll have to protect the self-image of interlocutor. We naturally need to talk to hundreds and thousands of people on everyday basis, and what we said, we should not be breaking hearts. We should not be breaking their image. We should not make them lose their positive face. We must be pragmatic. We need to be tactful. We need to be diplomatic at certain points. I don't say we should be dishonest, but we need to be polite. We need to be courteous. We need to sugarcoat certain things. We need to say it euphemistically. We'll have to say it in a way whereupon we don't cause anybody any hurt, any harm. We do not actually injure and wound the sentiments of other people. We have no right to injure the sentiments of the other people. That's where I would insist that we must learn those interpersonal skills. And after interpersonal skills, another skill that we need to learn is analytical skills. We need to be analytical in our approach. We need to analyze all different dimensions of some phenomenon, some situation. And once we have been able to adopt and develop those analytical skills, our decision-making power, our power to penetrate, our power to perceive, our perceptive power, our thinking power, our decision power would improve significantly. And after that analytical power, we need to develop negotiation skills. We must negotiate our terms. We may argue back. We might have arguments. We might have powerful cogent argument. We must plead our case. We must advocate our case. We must show our side of position. We must discuss things from a different perspective. And here we need to have negotiation skills. We must be great listeners. We must be amazing listeners. We must have a large heart. We have a broad mind. We should have a neutral mind. We should listen to other people, not just to argue, not to cut him or her short, but to listen to understand. And after having understood with all large heart, we should analyze that issue. And then we should just say, all right, I can negotiate my point this way. I can negotiate my term this way. And these negotiation skills will help us not only survive, but excel. And this is one of the biggest secrets of success. After negotiation skills, if you are young students and if you are an advanced level student, you need to improve your study skills also. And there are websites, there are books available where you may learn how really to study, because there are so many people who work laboriously hard, who work diligently hard, who work long and hard, but they just don't know how to work smart. So smart work is fast replacing hard work, and one of the requirements of smart work is the study skills. We must learn how to approach a subject, how to read a book, how to maximize on a reading, how to maximize on our studies, and those study skills should be able to help us out in our early years or advanced year when we are enrolled in a college or a university, either for bachelor's, undergrad courses, or for PhD or postgrad courses, and that's where we need those study skills. And then we must also learn time management skills. Time management skills are great by bailing out my devices. If we respect time, time will respect us. We never can lose time. I am very much sad about that misperception and misconception that we are wasting time. Time is something which God has sworn by. Time is eternal. Time is frozen in this space and time. It is infinite. There has been a morning so many centuries ago. There's a morning today also. There will be a morning tomorrow. Time is something static, something frozen, something eternal, something infinite, which is always there. We waste ourselves. If we learn to respect time, time will also honor us. If we don't dishonor time, time will also disrespect us. So my dear friends, all people have 24 hours. Bill Gates had 24 hours. Steve Jobs had 24 hours. All the people who have ever succeeded in life and career, they only had 24 hours. Nobody in this universe can claim having even a single second above 24 hours. So whatever we seek to do, we fail or succeed within the framework of these 24 hours. So I would say only those who succeed actually know the art of managing time. They set their priorities, they know when to do what. And if we also develop these time management skills, we can also become, very, very successful. And another secret of success, another step of being successful is that we must choose those careers. We must choose to do in our lives something which is very, very meaningful to us, which might bring us personal fulfillment, which brings us personal satisfaction, and which also brings, a lot of benefit to the rest of the mankind. Something, this is what exactly. If you only do what you don't like, you will end up a lousy guy. If you love what brings you fulfillment, what is actually meaningful to you in your life. Look at Michelangelo, look at Paulo Coelho, look at Leonardo da Vinci, look at Pablo Picasso, look at all the great Gabriel Garcia Marquez, look at Mozart, look at all those great musicians, look at all those great movie makers, look at all those great heroes, look at all those great people, look at all those great scientists who have actually spent hundreds of years, decades of years in their laboratories. Look at all those artists who have been, doing their artwork for years and years and years long, and so on and so forth. And all these people actually were doing what had meaning for them, what they thought were meaningful for them. Because ordinary run-of people, ordinary common folk, they go after jobs, they become clerks, they may become any other thing, but they simply do not do what is meaningful for their life. Abdul Sattar Idi, Bilkis Idi, Shipa, look at all those great philanthropists of the world. They actually, chose to do what they thought were close to their hearts, what they thought were close to their passion, what they thought were close to their emotions, what they thought were closer to God, what they thought was close. And that's why they opted for all those great vocations, all those great professions, and all of them had a great personal fulfillment in the end. They were all very happy. Look at Bill Gates. Why these people are happy? Because happiness, success comes from something when you do what you think is meaningful for you. If you are just doing something which is mechanical and meaningless for you, you will not really be called as successful people. In order to be successful, you need to do things which are very close to your spirit, which are very close to your own, understanding, your heart, your body, your mind, and your soul. And then, fifth secret of success. The fifth success paradigm or principle is that you must learn to think in a higher order and long-term manner. Higher order thinking, not lower order thinking. Why? Because if you become a director of marketing in some firm, in some company, or in some other such establishment, all you can do, you can work for others. Your boss will give you a target. He'll say, okay, sell all these drugs, achieve this target. I'll send you to Abu Dhabi for 1 month, for 1 week. I'll send you to United States of America. But you will all be simply a mechanical instrument for other people to earn, because you are thinking to lower order terms. Why don't you think of owning a company? Why don't you think of innovation? Why don't you think of bringing in some brilliant new idea, like TCS people brought this idea of career service. They thought that the government career service was weak, and they came up with a more brilliant idea. You become people of ideas. You become people of imagination. You become people of vision. You should become people of dreams. You start being a dream seller and a dream buyer. You start developing leadership skills in you instead of following others. Why don't you become your own master? Why don't you establish your own company? Why don't you think in higher order terms? Why are you always be restricted and narrowed down by that lower order thinking? Why should you be working as an employee to anyone else? Why don't you seek to be an employer? Why don't you start owning the world? Why don't you start leading the world? And all those great men in the world, those have actually been people of higher order thinking. They have never been people of lower order thinking. Lower order thinking people, they have a limited scope. They have a narrowed space. They only think about working for other people, earning for other people, giving away their sweat and blood for other people. Other people, those who are sharper, who are smarter, are more shrewd, are cunning, are less foxy, are more intelligent, they use them as a resource. So instead of being a resource to somebody else, why don't you develop ideas where you may start thinking into higher order thinking instead of small term approach. So this is it. And after this, another thing, if you really want to be successful people in this world, you need to develop a lot of flexibility. I always insist, I always say, I always emphasize that life would simply not be possible without these virtues. What are those virtues? Virtue number one is flexibility. We need to be flexible. We don't need to be rigid. Have you ever think of a bamboo? Bamboo is strong or a steel rod is strong? If I ask you this question, all my viewers, do you think bamboo is stronger than a steel rod, or a steel rod is stronger than a bamboo? My answer would be a bamboo branch is stronger. Why? Because it has the capacity to bend. When a strong gust of winds comes, a bamboo branch, somehow bends. And if you don't have that quality to bend in life, to be flexible in life, if you're like a steel rod, you will be uprooted by the strong gusts of social conditions. But if you have the capacity and capability and wisdom and sagacity and intelligence and capacity to bend, you will let the winds pass through, and you will still maintain your position in this society. So I would say flexibility, then compromise. We need to be compromising in our nature. In order to run fast, we need to step back. We need to traverse a few steps back, and that's where this is what I call as a compromise. And the more compromising we are, I don't say that we should sell away our soul. We should, sell away our bid our brain and brawn to some other people. No, that's not my point. My point is that certain times when we see that there is a dark alley, a closed alley, there is a dead end, in that dead end, in such a deadlock, in such an imbroglio, we need to be compromising. We should strike up a compromise. And then adjustment. Flexibility, compromise, and adjustment. We need to adjust. And adjustment is, life would not be possible without adjustment, without compromise, without flexibility. We'll simply be getting broken, overridden, overdriven, over this, and we can be tossed away in the currents of winds and in the gust of storms, but we'll never be able to survive, and we'll also not be able to be successful. That's why I would insist flexibility, adjustment, compromise, and of course, sacrifice. Without sacrifice, we simply cannot succeed in our careers. Sacrifice at every stage, at every moment, at home, outside the home, at workplace. Those people who have the largest heart, those people who have a nobler spirit, those people who have a magnanimous disposition, those people who can assimilate and accommodate the faults of other people, those people who have the art of sitting back, those people who have the art of getting out of the limelight, those people who have the ability to put other people in the front, those people who have the ability to promote other people, those people who have the capacity to love others, those people who have the capacity to leave estate to some other people, those people who have the capacity, capability, intelligence, wisdom and acumen to let others grow, to let others flourish, those people actually sacrifice. Without sacrifice, no homes are possible, no families are possible. Families, relations, life, jobs, everything becomes possible only when you come up, you move, you conduct yourself with a spirit of sacrifice. And the more sacrifice you are capable of offering, the more acceptable, the more lovelier, the more service oriented, the more loved, the more adored, the more worshipped person you become. So after these things I recount, one is flexibility, compromise, adjustment, and sacrifice. After that, we need to do a lot of perseverance. What do I mean by perseverance? Perseverance is our quality, is our caliber, is our characteristic to stand our ground, not to yield, not to give up. Never, never, never. We never give up. If you don't just give up, you can move mountains, you can conquer the world, you can win this world, you can win this entire universe, only when you know that you are not there to give up, that you have a steely resolve, that you have unflinching faith in your ability, that you have immense faith in your dreams, that you have immense belief in your vision. And once you carry that vision, you project that vision, you present that vision to the world, when you follow your dreams, when you are absolutely resolved, when you are having a steely determination, you can do all that you want to do. I'll cite a few examples here. McDonalds, you might all have heard the name of McDonalds. He had only a check of $100 in his hand and nothing else. And he went to 1,000 houses. He went to 1,000 places to ask for orders to sell his burger. And initially, when he approached 1,000 houses, went to doorsteps of 1,000 houses, he received only one single order. And that's where a success story of McDonald's begins. Just $100 and one order. But a lot of determination, a lot of determination, a lot of determination. And it is neither $100, not that one single order that took him off. What took him off, my dear folks, is his resolve, is his passion, is his perseverance, is his faith in his own determination. Look at the example of Abraham Lincoln. 21 years, he made a big loss in business. 22 years, he had a disease. 24 years, he had another big loss coming in. 26 years, he lost election. 28 years, he lost his beloved. And 34 years, lost an election again. But when he became 52 years, he became president of the United States of America. Look at Walt Disney. Walt Disney made so many cartoons. He made so many caricatures. He made so many sketches. He sent it to everybody, to thousands of places. Only one small priest in a church accepted his sketch. And having accepted his sketch, that's where the success story of Walt Disney begins. Look at the Wright brothers. What happened to Wright brothers? Wright brothers were Washington Times, a newspaper of high caliber like Washington Times, termed both the Wright brothers as mad. They thought they were crazy. They thought they were insane. They wrote it, mentioned it in the editorial in Washington Times. But the next day, Wright brothers were able to fly the aeroplane. And they revolutionized the travel world. And they become the trendsetters in the world. And the entire world was in marvel. Entire world was taken aback. Entire world was dumbfounded. And they said, oh my God, look, they are able to fly that aeroplane because they believed in the beauty of their dreams. They had immense faith in what they were doing. They had immense faith in their own resolve. They had unwavering faith in their own capacity to do what they actually desired and dreamt of doing. Look at the example again of Edison. Edison was trying to invent that bulb, that light, light bulb that we all now have in 100 different modern innovative forms. And that's where he failed 1,000 times. Will you believe it, my folks? How many times did Edison fail? Edison failed 1,000 times. And at 1,001 time, his entire laboratory caught fire and everything was reduced to ashes. Everything was burnt down. And Edison smiled. And he said, all right, all my mistakes have now been subjected to ashes. All my mistakes have been burnt out. And this is where actually I will begin anew. And he began afresh. He began anew. And he became successful in inventing that bulb. Now I will be sharing with you another secret. That's why I insist that let us be men of courage. Let us be people of vision. Let us be people of dreams. Let us be people of aspirations. Let us be people of beliefs. Let us be people of values. Let us lead our life by certain values. All successful people lead their lives by a set of principles, by a set of values. Valueless life without values will be no worth. We must learn to say no. We must never say something which we know that we won't be doing. We should not tell lies. We should not brag. We should not backbite. We should not talk about other people. We should not waste our energy. We must not, indulge in all kind of petty, shallow business. We need to have vision, dreams, and acumen and wisdom. And that's where, my dear friends, I think we will be able to succeed. And then we must never forget to serve and contribute. Why? Because service and contribution are things that actually make us human. They humanize us, they democratize us, they universalize us, they make us man in the real sense. This is what God Almighty has always demanded of us. God Almighty has ordained us. God Almighty has commanded us to do. And that's where, for example, if I live only for myself, I would not nothing else. I would be a beast. I would be an animal. So when we reach out to others, when we help others, when we think of others, when we promote others, when we take others in life, those who are down on the floors, those who are down on the earth, we may pick them up. And this capacity to pick others up, this capacity to extend an arm, this capacity to extend a helping hand, this capacity to reach out, this empathy, this fellow feeling, this love for other people, this love for our fellow beings, this will help us serve. And once we serve and we contribute to the well-being of all other people, so we look after our world, we look after plant life, we look after animal life, we respect animal rights, we respect plant rights, we must respect all things that surround us. And we should cast a positive influence on life in all different forms, in form of animals, in time flora, in form of fauna, in form of botany, in form of trees, in form of insects, in form of humans, in form of friends, in form of family, in form of relatives, in form of community, in form of society, in form of this entire world. We must be a positive influence on this world. And having done that, we must also be having some quotients. For example, this entire world has been overemphasizing on IQ. IQ people, not really, I'll tell you, IQ people are more or less selfish. They live for themselves. I would say we should have emotional quotient. We should have social quotient. We should have adversity quotient. For example, our adversity quotient was tested this time. Those people who were able to smile through this pandemic, those people who were smiled through this virus, onslaught of virus. We were all hit badly by virus, but there were certain people who did not lose hope, who did not lose heart, who had their mind, their sanity, their power, their strength, their acumen, their intelligence, their courage intact. Those people were the ones having a lot of adversity quotient, and we now need to develop that adversity quotient. We must have intelligence quotient. We might also have emotional quotient. Why? Because emotional stability, we will end up in being very disastrous, lousy people. We might make grave mistakes. We might get, even fired, and we might also bring a lot of destruction to our families. One slip, one moral slip, and it's over. And moral slip is because of lack of emotional stability. If we are able to regulate our emotions, to control our emotions, to suppress our emotions, to better regulate our emotions, this way emotional quotient is very important. And then I said social quotient, when we have empathy, when we feel for others, social quotient is also very important. So SQ, I say IQ, EQ, SQ, and then I say AQ, adversity quotient, our ability, our fortitude, our passions, our virtue, our capacity, our capability to put up with the difficulties of life, especially with this world, pandemic, especially with epidemics, especially with deadly diseases, especially with certain things, wars, traumas, all these things, all those big things that hit humanity, that hit us also as individuals. If we have the ability to survive these difficult and hard times, this is known as adversity quotient. And in this adversity quotient, we need to have this AQ. And after AQ, the last Q is that a PQ, people's quotient. Now, what is people's quotient? If you are not able to adjust with other people, if you cannot be team players, if you cannot network, if you cannot, smile to other people, if you cannot embrace other people, if you cannot take other people on board, if you cannot work with people, if we do not maintain good relations with people, if our relations are sour, if our relations are not ideal, if our relations are always disputed, they are restrained, they are constrained, they are whatever, and in that case, we cannot survive with strained relationships. We can survive with harmonious relationships. We should be in harmony with this world. We should be in harmony with all our people around us. We should love. We should talk to them. We should reach out to them. We should accept them. We should respect them. We should honor them. We should forget their faults. We should learn to forgive. And this way, my dear viewers, we can have this. I repeat, IQ, intelligence quotient, EQ, emotional quotient, SQ, social quotient, AQ, adversity quotient, and in the end, people quotient. And this way, we must be able to live this world, a wonderful place. And in the end, let me conclude, my dear viewers, let me conclude my today's talk on how we can be successful with these words. One of the very important things that we need, if we really want to be successful, is that let us learn to forget. Because when we learn to forget, only then we learn to forgive. If we cannot forget, we cannot forgive. And then after we have learned to forget, we will learn to forgive. We forget so that we forgive. And once we have learned to forgive, we learn to love. Because we cannot love unless we forgive. What is love? Love is forgiveness. How much you can forgive a person would be the evidence of your love. With merely tall claims, verbal, oral claims of love will not do. If we are not able to, forgive anyone, it means that we don't really love him or her. And if we really love him or her, we must have that enormous capacity to forgive. So this forgiveness begins with forgetfulness. We forget so that we forgive. And we forgive so that we love. And once we love, we become able to live. I'm very grateful to all of you for listening to me with undivided attention. Rest assured of my blessings and prayers and love. Thank you.